Let's talk Tobago.
Hi there, welcome to a new episode of Let's Talk Tobago. Our location, the Shore Park Cultural Complex. Now I'm excited to share this interesting lineup of stories we have for you this week. I'm Patricia Nicholson Richards and this is Let's Talk Tobago. Let's go. Trinidad and Tobago recently celebrated Indian Arrival Day, and we have some highlights from the Tobago celebrations. Residents of Mount St. George Goodwood got to have their say at the most recently held town hall meeting, and the Trinidad and Tobago Blind and Welfare Association is encouraging Tobagonians to take better care of their eyes. All this and more in this episode of Let's Talk Tobago.
If praises, praises. This is Franz Job, the country boy, and you're watching Let's Talk Tobago.
The Tobago Hindu Society recently held its annual Indian Arrival Day celebrations at Gulf City Mall, Lowlands, Tobago, and we have some highlights in this next story.
He came from Calcutta, a stick and a bag on his shoulder. He took banana capra. So I am Patsy of India. India.
We must never lose sight of the sacrifices they made. In this regard, we must make every attempt to show them how much we value what they have done for our country, and in fact, in extension for Tobago. When you reflect on the Singhs and you reflect on the BPATs and you reflect on persons like Miss Rena, and the list can go on, and think about the indelible contribution that our East Indian brothers and sisters have made to Tobago's development.
Our country has reaped the benefit of an improved economy, an improved cultural expression, food and festivals, which have now become part of our own common cultural heritage, which every creed and race now freely enjoy.
Residents of the electoral district of Mount St. George Goodwood got to have their say at the most recently held Executive Council District Town Hall meeting. And we have all the highlights in this next story.
We held a sewing class that saw 15 persons with a certificate that represents their ability in basic sewing. So that was held from November and ended in March. We, as a district, also had computer literacy classes. We have our annual book drive that takes place every year. Also, an eye testing initiative for the school children as well. We, as a district, has applied for land in the Gosbo area where we intend to do some farming.
The cemetery There's supposed to be a public toilet there, but not even the dead will use that. Right. And this is a low-hanging fruit. The little shed that is there, if possible, give us the material, we can refurbish that thing and have it, usable.
There was an RFP, request for proposal, that went out for the refurbishment of the facilities. So we're talking about toilet facilities and so forth a couple weeks ago for both the Argyle Cemetery and the Goodwood Cemetery. So at least for Argyle and for Goodwood, we would have refurbished facilities so that when we go to these funerals, we would have a dignified place that we could refresh ourselves and go to the washroom if needed.
The Goodwood Pavilion will be completed. The THA will have to complete it ourselves. Unfortunately, I know many of you here think the pavilion is in the wrong place, but at this juncture, I think it's too late to move it. I think it will cost more to move it at this juncture. We have to finish the project and then find some more money and reroute the lighting to now match what's there.
We want to know what's the development plan and how are we going to move forward as a constituency. If you could shed some light on that, I would greatly appreciate it.
One of the initiatives were to have lands redistributed to persons who really are interested in farming. I know the resident requested the upgrade of the community center, of which I've made advocacy on the village behalf. They have also spoken about the tourism product in the area. So we wanted to do some kind of tourism development apart from the infrastructural work at Goodwood.
Area Rep Morrison spoke a lot about the infrastructural works, the drainage, the retaining walls, fixing the roads, about the fires in the district and the families so affected. In this district, there are a couple other things on the horizon. She spoke about farming and looking at Goldsboro and doing sort of community cooperative type arrangement for farming. So that is something we're working on getting to you, the community, within this calendar year.
In brotherhood, there is strength, and in strength, there is salvation. This was the theme of an interfaith service held to commemorate 50 years of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Retirees Association.
It was a special gathering of retired law enforcers who graciously endeavor to continue being their brother's keepers under the banner of the Police Retirees Association.
What began 50 years ago as a grouping of retired police officers has now mushroomed into an association of almost 1,000 members. Our association was formed in September 1973 and can now boast of a modern office located at Besson Street, Port of Spain.
Association President Brother Wellington Virgil says the TTPRA allows retired servicemen and women to maintain camaraderie in their twilight years, as well as benefiting from support services, despite being self-funded.
We are able to provide financial assistance to our members, principally to defray the cost associated with accessing medical attention.
In his tribute, Assemblyman Joel Sampson praised the old guards for keeping the nation safe and appealed for such service to be upheld.
I think it's time that those that are serving us presently tap into those who have gone before us. Because back in the days, when you think about it, as a community, as a nation, persons could have gone to their beds, leaving their doors wide open, without the worry that we face today. And it had to be something that these persons that gone before us was doing right, that we can't seem to get right today.
Other tributes from the current executive of the TTPS paid homage to their predecessors.
I thank you on behalf of the Commissioner of Police and her executive for all that you have done in carving the landscape of Trinidad and Tobago. We who are still here
in the organization will continue that fight, and by the grace of God, we will overcome. Thank you very much. God's blessings.
The TTPRA's 50th anniversary was supported with prayer readings from the Baptist, Roman Catholic, Moravian, Anglican, Muslim, Seventh-day Adventist, Methodist, and Hindu faiths. I'm Ryan McCool for Let's Talk Tobago.
Hi guys, we have to take a break right now, but more Let's Talk Tobago when we return.
I'm Carol Warner and you are watching Let's Talk Tobago.
Quite an interesting painting to look at, just like the many others here at the Shore Park Cultural Complex. But guys, hear this. Tobagonians are being encouraged to take better care of their eyes by the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association. They'll tell you just how to do that in this next story.
This walk through the streets of Scarborough is a public awareness initiative by the Trinidad and Tobago Blind Welfare Association. It's meant to sensitize the public about persons who are visually impaired. It's also a call to action for people to protect and care for their eyes, a notion that the association further promoted through its health fair at the Scarborough Esplanade.
Love Your Eyes was chosen as a theme because we recognize and we want to promote and encourage persons to make eye health a priority, to love taking care of your eyes so as to avoid avoidable blindness.
It is not just them speaking about sight, but they have included all of the other components of sight that affect your health. So we're talking about nutrition, because we all know that there's a direct link between, for example, diabetes and your sight. So talking about nutrition, the nutritionists are here, there are individuals here doing your blood pressure and cholesterol, and all of those things has the potential to affect your sight. So I am actually very thankful for them for coming up with this idea and to make it so all-inclusive.
I am excited that I was here to see so many people that were visually impaired, and it was surprising to me, but it was good to see that we came here for this cause and we are supporting this cause, and we would gladly do it again.
I want people to take care of their eyes so that they could be independent and people won't take advantage of them.
So rather than having to depend on a disability grant or a charity hamper, we actually, because we earn a sustainable income, we are able to provide for ourselves and our families and add to the national GDP. So it is important for the society to join hands with us in advocating for an accessible environment for us, because it would benefit all of Trinidad and Tobago.
This walk and health fair was supported by the Division of Health, Wellness and Social Protection under the Tobago Regional Health Authority. I'm Amadara Mills for Let's Talk Tobago.
Remember the good old days of being swept up in an entrancing story being told by our elders? Well, that legacy continues as 12 young finalists participate in the finals of the Tobago Library Services Storytelling Competition. Here's more.
Imagine it. Be It was the theme of this year's competition, which these young storytellers embodied to bring their pieces to life.
As you know, it's a competition that involves primary school level children, which falls under the purview of the Children's Library. This competition this year was stiff, it was tough. We didn't have it for 2 years straight because of COVID, of course, but we got a lot of participation, more than last time, and the children would have put a lot of effort in. We saw an improvement in the performances, and it was really, really good.
Understanding the benefits of the art form, the Tobago Library Services has been keeping this oral tradition alive since 1984.
It helps the children more so than it does the school, I would say. It helps the child to find their voice. it takes a lot of effort to get in front of an audience and to perform. It helps them with their dedication and diligence when you look at where they have to start and how they actually deliver. It helps them with their diction, with their body language. It helps them with their expression, and it helps them with their overall confidence.
It was a tough task for the judges, but after meticulous deliberation, Nintendo George of Delaford Primary took third place with his presentation of the brownie.
Began to regret it. Soon they heard the hooting of an owl. Using up all her courage, Betty stepped forward and said,
Second place was Scarborough RC's Kalia Alfred performing Mama Lizzie.
Show start. Time for Boopsy to come out. And Boopsy come out as a bodybuilder. If you say Boopsy.
And towering above the competition was the humbly comported Alessandro Bab with his adaptation of Old Fletch by Paul Keynes Douglas.
And jump on, conquer him. Was like a miracle. Monkey man Maurice got from bass to soprano like a jet. You think that was jokeless? Yes, sir. The conqueror could have make people sing. And was no fooling wrong with Old Fletch. When he says stand, you stand. And sit, you sit. And if he catch you cooking, well, Lord have mercy. Hear him confound the basic chicks.
Taking in his moment, Alessandro recounted his journey to the finals.
After the preliminaries, my dad assisted me. He also sent the video to a very close family friend, which is Miss Kenetta Bob. And she said it would be a 7 out of 8. From there, we continued working tirelessly and hard to get it up to the perfect way.
Directed by his teacher, Miss Michelle John, and tutor, Miss Patricia Denoon, Alessandro was grateful for the support of his parents and, of course,
my school of Scarborough Methodist Primary School, which I can now declare is the best primary school in the entirety of Tobago. It does take a village to mind a child. It was in that way, just with the verse speaking. It took the whole entire school and even out of the school boundary. A retired teacher, which was Miss Noon.
Well done, young man, and congratulations to all contestants of this year's storytelling competition. For Let's Talk Tobago, I'm Ryan McCool.
And that's a wrap, guys. We've come to the end of yet another episode of Let's Talk Tobago. Now, for more of our content, you can follow us on social media. You can also visit our website, www.tha.gov.tt. I'm Patricia Nicholson-Richards, and on behalf of all of us at the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly, thank you so much for viewing, and see you soon.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Good morning, viewers. It's Monday, the 5th of June, 2023. Welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. As we continue to give God thanks for life, I am Julian Ski.
And I am Maria Richardson George, and this is the day that the Lord has made, and we will rejoice and be glad in it. Good morning to you, Tobago. Good morning, Trinidad. Those of you viewing in the Caribbean, and those of you on the live. Good morning, Julian.
Yes,
Keith.
good morning.
I don't know what to say. Tell us what's going on this morning.
It's that kind of morning, Ria.
It is indeed.
It's that kind of morning. Had a trek on up there got into checkpoint. They said it's the graduation season.
That
It's the
it
graduation season. And you don't see me in a tie very often. You don't see me in a bow tie very often. But coordinated with this jacket, some say pink is my color.
Definitely.
Some say pink is my color.
That as well.
I'd leave it up to the viewers to determine ultimately. But this morning's outfit is courtesy Checkpoint, and that's Checkpoint located at Upper Main Street in Scarborough, Tobago, 639-5148. Remember to Checkpoint. It's the graduation season. Why do a plain jacket when you can have all the, the patterns and everything that goes with it? In fact, when you're out at that graduation dinner, you want to ensure that when you step out of the car, you ain't even reached the hall yet. When you step out of the car, before you even reach the hotel, that you stand out. So remember, folks, to Checkpoint in this graduation season. It's that time of year. And in fact, Ria, I had to be reminded of that because, in the mix of everything, it's usually around this time of year, but you just will not put into that conscious state just yet.
That's right. And even as we're talking about it being the graduation season, I just want to remind our viewers here that you can check out the Hair Sanctuary located second floor Port Mall for all your hair needs for graduation. So whether for the girls, whether it's wigs or weaves or braids, check out the Hair Sanctuary as well. Phyllis, who does my hair now, Phyllis here, she's got a graduation special going on, as well as a Father's Day special that's coming up in just about 2 weeks. So we want to remind you, give Phyllis a call. She's at 610-3871-479-4285. Once we have some time during the morning, we'll be able to give you some of the prices and some of the specials that she has going on for Father's Day and for graduation.
Excellent. All right, viewers, at this point, we head straight on over to news in 90 seconds.
Thank you, Julian and Ria. I am Adana Kambi, and here is your news in 90 seconds for Monday, 5th June, 2023. Residents near the Blackrock River are disgruntled by a private development that has resulted in a shift over the river course. Residents expressed their frustration with the damage done to their property, business, and livestock. Residents are concerned as the area is a turtle breeding habitat and turtle eggs have been seen floating about in the river. Assemblyman Niall George described the situation as unfortunate and assured that a temporary solution will be in place at the end of the turtle nesting season and has the approval of the Chief Secretary. Tobagonian Kyla Keith Wilson is among students from 10 countries who completed her studies in Canada after receiving a scholarship from the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee. Mrs. Keith Wilson's program consisted of 3-level competition introduction and development, long-term athlete development, performance planning, physical preparation, mindfulness, Olympic programs, and nutrition. Upon completion of the program, she graduated with a classical training certification from the National Coaching Certification Program, NCCP, of the Coaching Association of Canada. Congratulations to her. The Office of the Chief Secretary introduces their summer employment program. Eligible candidates include full-time university students and 6B students. Applicants must be 18 years and over and reside in Tobago. Persons who are recipients of the National Scholarship would not be considered. Fields of interest include law, accounting, IT, economics, urban planning, geography, land management, communications, English, media, journalism, health and safety, HR management, and business administration. The registration link can be accessed on the Office of the Chief Secretary websites, and application closed on Thursday, 8th June, 2023. And that was your news in 90 seconds. I am Adana Kambi. Back to you, Ria and Julian.
Thank you so much, Adana.
Bring us the news in 90 seconds, the happenings in Trinidad and Tobago.
That's right. And right here in Tobago, we want to say congratulations to Kyla Keith Wilson and Keyshawn Julian.
Oh, yeah.
Okay, so congratulations to these two Tobagonians who are really putting Tobago, again, continuing to put Tobago on the map.
Certainly. Both individuals know all too well. Kyla, from as early as her days down at Scarborough Secondary, always outstanding in terms of her performance in the field of sport and netball, to be very specific. So this academic achievement, kudos and commendations indeed, really continuing to stand out in all her efforts. And similarly, Keisha and Julian through a church, the Scarborough Methodist Church. And I want to say congratulations and commendations to you and the continued support of your entire family team out there. Really taking us far, very far indeed, and putting, as Ray rightfully said, putting Tobago, continuing to put us on the map, of course, with the national instrument.
All right. Well, Julian, it is time for that birthday segment that is sponsored by
KFC.
This is your birthday shout-outs on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
All right, and we start things off this morning celebrating Theodore Phillips out there from Lambo, Tobago. A happy birthday going out to you, Theo. For lots of love from all of your family, from Oswald and the entire family and all of us here at Tobago Updates. Have a great one. And no stranger to food. Julian, do you remember this lovely lady? We're talking food. When we talk about our Christmas special and food, we think of Sonia Phillip. Happy birthday going out to you this morning, Sonia Phillip. And lots of love from all of us here at Tobago Updates.
Happy birthday to you, Sonia.
All right. And Julian, I'll leave this one for you.
We have the man himself. And this is William Nana. Many of you may know him as Nana on the outside there. Usually the one you see in the background working very hard, doing his technical stuff, getting his thing done. And certainly one of our major drivers here behind Tobago Updates. Yes. And I want to take the opportunity to send out a birthday shout out. We trust that you've been enjoying the celebrations and that you will continue to enjoy the celebrations. Ria, what's those names again? I couldn't help but remember.
I'm glad that you asked. Okay, now it's a belated birthday greeting because he celebrated yesterday.
Correct.
But it's William, if I can recall, William, G. There's another one in between there. But the surnames are more Nana. Well, there's so many. William, Giucci, Moore, Nana. I think we're going to go with that this morning. So, and that is his African Nigerian heritage because he has Nigerian blood and Tobagonian blood flowing through his veins, and he is a Moor from all the way out there in Charlottesville. So deep roots in Tobago.
All right, want to wish him a happy birthday, and as we said, we trust that you continue to enjoy the celebrations. Take the morning off.
Birthday shoutouts on Tobago Updates, sponsored by KFC.
From the experts that created the Zinger sandwich comes the KFC Crispy Barbecue Zinger.
The only one I see is you.
Cheddar cheese, crispy onions, the most delicious Kentucky Fried Chicken, and barbecue sauce. Get ready for a whole new level of flavor.
Yes, welcome back, viewers, and that's from our birthday segment this morning, sponsored by KFC. All right, and heading straight on over to our rundown, we get started this morning with Leroy Batiste, President of the Public Service Association. And of course, we're speaking PSA, 4% wage offer, and there's still an indication that it is unacceptable. So we look forward to those upcoming discussions with Leroy Batiste.
And then we continue on this morning chatting with Linford Beckles, Director, Department of Environment. And this morning, the focus is on World Environment Day 2023 selection criteria for raw products seminar. Will he tell us more about it?
All right, and this morning we wrap with Rondell Moses, and Rondell is the events coordinator of CARMEET, second annual CARMEET and Fundy. So we look forward to those upcoming discussions taking place here this morning on the Tobago Updates Morning Show.
And now we're going to head on over to Tobago in Focus.
Good health starts with good nutrition. The Division of Education, Research and Technology understands this, knowing that the future of Tobago lies with the nutrition of our children. The school nutrition policy is being developed for this purpose.
We must understand that the child is a whole being.
what the child consumes matters. We do have a lot of wastage with particular meals as well, so we want to bring everything in a streamlined and organized manner so that we are most cost effective in our school nutrition program.
The policy, which is being examined and developed by a multi-departmental team from the division, as well as food and nutrition stakeholders, will seek to reduce waste, provide cost-effective measures, as well as establishing quality standards for meals and the stakeholders who create them.
We're also going to be reviewing the cost, the pricing, criteria for children to access the meals, because that has sort of gotten out of control a little bit over the years, moved away from the original objectives. And also the criteria for selecting and for maintaining your services as a caterer, because you have to maintain a standard.
The committee has been given a 4-month deadline for the full rollout of this policy. Technical advisor at the Division of Education, Research and Technology, Natasha Second, said work is well underway and encouraged principals, teachers and parents to participate in the process when the need arises.
We want to have policies that are very clear, policies that are very pragmatic. They're not going to simply be academic documents that are stuck in a cupboard. We want persons who work throughout the system to be able to move towards an improvingly higher quality education product, because we can measure exactly where we're going. So we want it to be transparent, and we want to have high levels of accountability throughout our entire system.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. We're just at about 7:08 a.m. We want to say thank you to each and every one of you for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. Ria, this morning in the lineup, just a quick shout out. We've got Grace Stanley, Ria Orr, my very own Ria Orr. I won't go to the next surname here.
Good morning.
Michael Moses, Sharon Mills. Thank you so much there at Sharon Mills. And just a reminder, outfit this morning, courtesy Checkpoint, and that's Checkpoint located at Upper Main Street in Scarborough. It's graduation season, folks. Yes, get your bow ties, shirts, blazers, you name it. They've got the combination there for you to ensure that you stand out from boys right up to men. All right, Michael Moses in the mix this morning. Shiva and New Bear also sending out birthday greetings to William Nana. Auntie Dora is on with us this morning.
Good morning,
as
Auntie
well
Dora.
in the mix, Pearl, Murray Beard, Lisa James. Thank you to each and every one of you for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. At this point, we're heading on into our first interview segment, and we should have on the line with us Leroy Batiste, President of the Public Services Association. Good morning.
Good morning to you, Julian, Ria. Good morning to your viewers.
Good morning. Good morning and welcome to the Tobago Updates morning show. As we get the conversation started this morning, we seem to be in that mood and in that season where unions are accepting offers. Tell us the current position of the Public Service Association.
Right. The Public Service Association, as you are aware, the matter would have been referred to the Minister of Finance, who sent it on to the special tribunal in the industrial court. And the matter is before the special tribunal at the industrial court at this point in time. So the negotiations in respect to public officers are before the special tribunal for determination.
PSA is indicating that this 4% is unacceptable. What about the 4% is unacceptable?
Well, everything. Just about everything is unacceptable about it. Hear me. The simplicity of the job of the union is to try to protect the value of a person's income. Ria. When you accept a salary, your salary represents a particular purchasing power. So you have agreed to work for $5,000 a month. You would have internalized that the capacity to head into a grocery, a store, and to acquire certain goods and services to take care of yourself and your family. Over time, inflation impacts that ability. Your salary loses value. The purpose of the union, therefore, is to try to protect the value of your salary and indeed to try to improve your standard of living. And therefore, a situation where, for the period under review right now, where we are talking about the government having referred 2014 to 2019, 6 years under review, the headline inflation at that period was about 22%. In respect to food inflation, you were well over 50%. Right now, it's more than over 72% in terms of the increase in prices of food. Yes, and therefore, what that means, if you look at it in the context of headline inflation, what that actually means is that if you could have purchased with your salary a certain basket of goods, you now, to purchase the same basket of goods, you will need an additional 22% to get the same basket of goods. Whenever the union accepts a 4% on behalf of the workers, and I'm using the word accept, the notion of accept, it means effectively your standard of living is cut by at least 18%. And I'm talking about that, Ria and Julian, that is talking about that past period, 2014 to 2019. Things have got worse over the period of time. So that 4% represent an effective cut in purchasing power of the worker. The worker therefore cannot command the same basket of goods that he could have commanded in respect of 2013. So at 2013, he could have commanded a certain basket of goods. Right now, he has to leave things back. And I'm sure that you're quite familiar with that, Riyadh and Julian, because the fact is you have an effective cut in your purchasing power due to inflation. So what's the job of the union? To try to see if we can try to have you maintain a standard of living. That's the minimum. And indeed, that's the minimum requirement of the union. Whereas indeed, we're supposed to try to help you improve your standard of living via the negotiation process. Yes? So that is to note, and let me be clear, we did not have no real negotiations this round. You had a situation where a CPO simply came and simply a take it or leave it approach. It was first 2%, as you recall, over 8 years, and then a 4% over 6 years, a take it or leave it approach, 2 meetings, and then they refer the matter to the special tribunal. And to be clear to your viewers what is taking place, the special tribunal is purporting that it has powers to impose a 10-year settlement if it's left before them. So that what you're faced with is where persons are trying to, rather than allow the imposition of a 10-year settlement, you may find yourself where your members say to you, boy, let's settle on the 4%, and because we now would still at least retain our ability to engage in collective bargaining from 2020 to 2024, rather than have that imposed by the special tribunal. So that's what you face. But to be clear, a 4% represents an effective cut to the workers' wages. That's what it represents. You are now in a worse off position than you were in 2013, having settled in 2023.
What would you say for those who indicate, well, this is the national situation before us, and then more than that, a number of your colleagues, associations and so have begun accepting, which therefore probably makes the challenge even more for the PSA to continue to pursue this course of action. Would you say that you may ultimately, eventually, perhaps be forced into opposition? I noted your words when the very last union to accept, the very last association to accept the 4%, indicating that persons are almost at a state of, it's not that I am willingly accepting, but I am accepting under what may be considered to be forced circumstances, given this threat of the 10-year period versus accepting 4% for the 6-year negotiation period.
And that very well might be so. Julian, that very well might be so. You may find yourself in a situation where Well, all unions have structures. You have your general council, for example, and you have the wider structures that you will engage in discussion with. And I can understand, because we are talking about workers are still, in most instances, they are 2013 salary in 2023. And in some other instances, we have workers that are on 2010 salary in 2023. So such workers are in a state of desperation. And you have the government taking this particular stance. Persons looking around and seeing persons, quote unquote, settling for the 4%. Yes, they may be inclined to come and say to me, Mr. President, go ahead and sign. I want to be clear. At no point in time, the 4% will be acceptable. You could find yourself in a situation, as you would have rightly framed it, where it's forced upon you. But I want to be clear, it doesn't make it less unjust, it wouldn't make it less unacceptable. It could be forced upon workers, and that's all it's going to be, something forced upon workers. And if I am so directed, and I will more than go and engage in having to sign off on it. But it's not that it has become acceptable. Workers would have effectively lost value of their income. The question of it being a national situation, I completely reject. This is a situation of how you prioritize and who you prioritize and what is it. Why 4%, Julian? Why not 5? Why not 3? 2 meetings. There was no attempt to sincerely and genuinely engage in negotiations. There was no attempt. It didn't take place on behalf of the workers. It's how you prioritize and you view workers. And I completely reject the notion of it is some kind of situation where you reach out based on the cut and thrust of negotiation. It simply did not take place. The fact of the matter is the workers we represent in the main, particularly public officers, they are prohibited by law to engage in collective action that could force upon being treated with regard and respect. That is to say, the law prohibits such workers from taking industrial action. But with that, therefore, it should have put a greater than normal burden on the state to treat with them fairly. Because you have their hands are tied. They can't take the action as you will put on CNN and on BBC and see workers, nurses, doctors, air traffic controllers, anyone taking industrial action striking. But that is not so under our jurisdiction. And therefore, what you have taken place here is pure advantage. Because we're in a situation where you could only meet with the workers. We met on 2 occasions. We met with the CPO, and then you could refer matter as a trade dispute. That's not fair. It's just simply not fair.
I like the fact that you're going into the process, but we're going to pause there just for a break. Viewers, at this point, we want to remind you, we're going to be returning as we continue discussions with Leroy Batiste on the Public Service Association. I want to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. this is your show. More, live more.
Put a smile on your face.
Welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. Yes, we are in the conversation currently with Leroy Batiste, President of the Public Servants Association, PSC. And as we continue the conversation, just before we went off to the break, you were delving into a key area there in terms of the process. And I want you to just give us that quick comparison. You've said that there was barely any kind of negotiation, an initial offering of 2 coming back with 4, and then now you know it, you're at the tribunal stage to make a determination or whether in favor of what is being presented by the government or, something that is more favorable in the minds of workers. Tell us, what did you anticipate as perhaps the ideal process? Summarize the ideal process for us in terms of real negotiations as you may describe it.
Well, real negotiations you would have if the CPO is engaged in serious negotiation. You would meet, and the parties would engage in presenting positions, one for the other, one towards the other. And with the cut and thrust of negotiation, you end up engaging in compromise, give and take, so that one could, in respect of the full gamut of the negotiations, there are various elements where one could say we start at one place, but then whereas we could be on the opposite sides we move towards the center. So the fundamentals of negotiations is engaging in compromise. It can't be a situation of take it or leave it. And if at all you were to be a student of international politics or anything of the sort, you hear people spending hours after hours, days after days, probably night after night, in trying to work out something that you could consider a compromise between the parties. That was not the case here. This was a simple case of someone put the 2% on the table and take it or leave it. The workers would have completely rejected it, and then put 4%, and after putting that 4% on the table, they just refer the matter to the special tribunal. And so there was no attempt to spend time and engage in any effort to reach any kind of compromise position, a give and take situation where you can actually say that a negotiation took place. It's simply, like anything else, you have to spend time behind it if you are to determine that you're involved in a serious exercise. And surely there was no attempt by the state to engage in any fair negotiations. Yes? They sent it down to the special tribunal, and I want to be clear. The special tribunal has its limitations. I have real systemic concerns about how those things are the composition of the special tribunal and how these things happen in the context of fairness. Yes, but I don't want to get into that today in terms of that. But the reality is that there was no attempt to behave in a manner that is respectful of workers in this country by simply a take it or leave it approach. You would have heard it yourself. The government was making pronouncement on the negotiation. They were coming around the table, whether it's on their budget speech and when they're having their interaction with their constituents. That is where they were talking about take it or leave it. That could never be fair. And it's really a case of simply not caring about, because workers' hands are tied. That's the reality.
Mr. Lambert,
engage in collective action.
Mr. Lambert, sorry, Mr. Batiste. workers are, I mean, the workers are, there's even that sense of live to fight another day, take little and live long. Is it that they're also tired of the years of negotiations? Take whatever you're getting for now. And I think that 10-year settlement is deterring a lot of them. But what are your thoughts on just I'm saying here, just simply accepting the 4% for now? And I understand your fight. I understand the reason and the rationale for fighting on behalf of these workers, these public servants. But maybe some of them are just tired and are willing to accept whatever they get. We're willing to accept willing to undervalue themselves for living to fight another day.
So Ria, the sad truth is that there's no living to fight another day, because from a systemic point of view, the structures in place, the workers will never be able to fight. They are not permitted under law to engage in collective action. There's no fight another day. If you have a government that is prepared to weaponize the advantage that the law gives them by the prohibition of industrial action from these categories of workers, guess what? It means that they could always take advantage of them. That's what this means. And let me put it to you this way, and I would have started by saying that there are structures in here. We have general counsel, and we may be in a situation where we are guided to go and sign off this agreement. Well, the government's position to sign it off. But I don't want at any point in time that someone will use the word acceptable as the basis for signing. You sign under duress. Someone put a gun by your head and ask you to relieve you of your wallet, and you give them your wallet. At no point in time that must be deemed to be a situation that you view as acceptable. You did it because you were under duress, and so that's fine, and we may, just like the others, walk that path. But I don't want at any point in time for that to be deemed to be something that we accept. Let me be clear. A public officer working for about $5,000 a month, and we do have public officers, clerks, working for just over $5,000 a month. And after 6 years, the amount of the increase would be something to the tune of $200 you're putting on a person's pay. Just over $33, $34 a year. And you have to now weigh that in the context of the cost of living and the impact of inflation. There are no amount of negotiation that will come thereafter that will be able to even out the playing field. These persons will have in fact suffered a permanent loss. And again, remember the context of work. Persons would in fact be hoping that through their work, they're able to take care of themselves and their family, to be able to afford a home, to be able to, and all the other necessities in life. So they are permanently disadvantaged. And I'm saying, don't underestimate this fact, that if the government never allowed for an opportunity for any real and meaningful negotiations to try to bring about resolutions that are acceptable. And let me
continue, Mr. Leroy Batiste. Let me just add the question, because we're at the point in terms of your closing remarks. This is the negotiation period for 2014, 2-3-year period, so therefore that 6-year period of consideration. What is the plan of the union as the way forward on behalf of its members? So if you can incorporate that in your closing, that would be excellent. Thank you.
Right. Well, as I said, we are before the special tribunal, Julia. We will be special tribunal. We have heard what the other unions have been faced with. We are before them. We will take on board when we haven't come to the point yet where the PSA has been placed in a position where we have to kind of take it or leave it a bit about whether we live and fight another bit, that whether we have a situation of 10-year settlement or that we have not reached to that point as yet. We have the best and brightest lawyers involved in our negotiations. When we come to that, we will examine the law to see if we agree that if the special tribunal put these particular positions to us, whether we agree in the first place that the special tribunal is in fact on the right side of law. So that has to be determined. And if they're on the right side of law, I will go before the General Council and we would advise of where we at. And if the General Council will then be able to authorize one way or the next, whether we fight on or whether we live to fight another day. Yes? So that we are at the point of we are before the special tribunal. I just want to be absolutely clear. Nothing that could happen will ever make 4% be a fair settlement. And you see, and that's important here. I view that no different than a person putting a gun by your head and you have to, you're purported to have agreed under duress. Yes?
All
but
right,
at
so
no
we got to
point
leave it there.
To be a fair settlement on behalf of workers.
Yes, thank you very much there, Leroy Batiste, for joining us here on set, President of the PSA, and giving the clear position. This is where things are at the moment in terms of the tribunal. And even if the PSA gets to a point where it is required to take and move forward, understand clearly that the PSA is still saying that it continues to be very unacceptable and indeed unfair to the working class.
All right. Well, viewers, I mean, Julia, that was an interesting, very interesting interview there. We've got lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates show this morning. In fact, we're going to be chatting when we come back from the break this morning with with Linford Beckles, the Director for the Department of Environment. And this morning, the focus is on World Environment Day 2023 and the selection criteria for raw products seminar. Can you tell us more about it?
Yes, so we look forward to those upcoming discussions. We also want to thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show. Those of you connecting with us online, and we see the views coming in because I'm certain the conversation this morning connects with a number of Public Service Association members who are all a part of this fight and this effort and would like to see the very best in terms of results coming forward. But viewers, we want to thank you so much for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show and to remind you that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you. Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported. Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning,
Good morning, morning.
Morning viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates Morning Show. It's 7:36 a.m. Tobago Updates Morning Show coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. At this point, viewers, we're heading on into our discussions. It's World Environment Day 2023. And in fact, if you pay attention to the calendar, there's almost a celebration of something each and every day, but significant to us today is World Environment Day 2023. And to join us here in the conversation is Director for the Department of the Environment, Linford Beckles. Good morning to you and welcome, sir.
Yes, good morning, Julian, and good morning, Tobago.
All right, so we get straight on into it. I want you to start, from the broader and the global perspective, telling us about the significance of World Environment Day 2023, that broader context, but more specifically now where we see there are a number of environmental issues being raised across the globe, and how do we respond to them, as individuals in our society?
Okay, well, thank you for the opportunity. World Environment Day is celebrated on June 5th of every year. And it's really an initiative to bring attention to environmental issues of global significance. And we have been doing that for a very long time. In 2023, this year, the focus is really on finding solutions to plastic pollution. As a matter of fact, the theme is Beat Plastic Pollution. And we have been having a significant challenge with plastics all over the world and so on. Microplastics in particular. They are quite pervasive in the environment, and of course it doesn't look good. Apart from that, plastics normally gets into the oceans and so on. And the microplastics, many of the marine organisms, they sometimes ingest them, and it creates significant problems and stuff in terms of the ecology, but also in terms of the food chain. And ultimately, it has potentially negative impacts on human health. So we are basically joining the global community in calling attention to this particular issue, and working together with all stakeholders to find solutions to some of these issues.
All right, so tell us specifically some of the efforts that will be happening here in Tobago today or this week in celebration of World Environment Day.
Okay, well, today, in particular, we would be hosting some of the primary school children, particularly those who are Standard 5 students. And of course, the Standard 5 students are a little free now that the CE exam is done, so it's a little easier to kind of work with them and stuff. So those Standard 5 students who are based in the eastern part of Tobago, they will be visiting the Roxborough Police Youth Club Upcycling and Learning Resource Center, where they will have the experience of, seeing the plastic recycling process at work. And they would also have the opportunity to get directly involved and, make some usable products from recycled plastics. We're not leaving out those in the western part of Tobago. Those in the western part of Tobago would be visiting the Tobago Resource Recycling Initiative, which is based in Shaw Park. And those students are going to have a similar kind of experience there. So we're really providing the opportunity for the students to learn more about it, but also to get directly involved and stuff. And of course, when you are directly involved in something, you get a much deeper appreciation for the process, for the value of the process and stuff, and the importance of the process in the context of sustainable development.
I'm happy you mentioned the importance of the process, and in fact, looking at that start that is focusing on our primary school age students. How do you get this to transition into those young adults, those adults in society, recognizing that it cannot just be up to the environment department, those who deal with our waste and so on, and one or two of the recycling initiatives. It has to be a collective effort, something we've heard Sean Roberts talk about time and time again. How do we get to that point, and what do you see as the responsibility from the governmental agency's perspective as the Department of Environment?
Well, the conventional wisdom suggests that we should really work through the kids and stuff, right? Which is one of the things that we're doing, because in many instances where we sometimes fail to have significant lasting impacts on adults, kids normally succeed. and so on. If you have a kid and stuff, and the kid is always saying to you, this is wrong and stuff, or this is the right behavior and stuff, you are much more likely to sort of
guilty.
Yes, you feel a bit guilty and stuff, so you're much more likely to listen. But above and beyond that and stuff, certainly from the perspective of the state agency and many of the other important environmental stakeholders, we have a responsibility to be consistently engaged with all members of the public, including adults and so on. And I think that, as you suggested a while ago, consistency is really the key, because when it really comes to issues related to recycling and other environmental issues, it's really about changing people's attitudes and perception, and that is not really a very, very easy thing to do. To give yourself the best chance of achieving that, you really need to be consistent in terms of the engagement of the public and so on. And that is not always very, very easy, because sometimes it takes a lot of effort, it takes a lot of finance and so on. And of course, these days and stuff, public financing is not always as available as it used to be. So we basically have to, make the best use of all of the limited resources that we have, and try our best to be as consistent as possible, involve all stakeholders and stuff to basically get the outcome that we're really looking for.
As we close this morning, remind our viewers contact information for those wishing to connect with your department there in terms of any sort of outreach efforts.
Right. So if you wish to engage with us at the Environment Department and stuff, you can always call 735-4350 on any particular issue. If you require any support in terms of environmental education, that's the number to call as well.
All right, excellent. So that persons don't feel the department only activates. I've done work with them, with other organizations, and you can reach out or connect with the department in terms of working along with you. Even as NGOs here, we've all got a role to play in this process here in Tobago. It's World Environment Day, and we want to say thank you, Linford Beckles, Director for the Department of the Environment, for joining us here on set at the Tobago Updates morning show this morning. Up next, folks, we have Rondell Moses, and he's the event coordinator, and we're speaking the second annual Car Meet and Fun Day. So we look forward to that information coming forward to us in the next interview. Viewers, we want to thank you so much, each and every one of you, for continuing to choose the Tobago Updates morning show and for continuing to connect with us. Those of you relaxed at home, taking us in on your TV, and those of you probably on the road, listening in on your radio and or your devices, we want to say that this is your opportunity to share the live, share the live, share the live.
Welcome to L'Image Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash in transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Okay, passage and come on over.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from place to place. Good morning, good morning, morning, good morning, morning.
Viewers, welcome back this morning to the Tobago Updates morning show. We're chatting this morning with Rondell Moses, the events coordinator for Car Meet. And this is their second annual Car Meet and Fun Day. Good morning and welcome to you.
Hi, good morning, and thank you for having me.
Now, Rhonda, let's get right into things. This is the second car meet show that we're having.
Yes,
Tell us about the first and what car meet is all about.
The car meet and fun day. It was an idea birthed by Miss Megan Morrison, the area representative for Mount St. George, Goodwood, Bacalet.
Yes.
In 2022, we decided we wanted to do something for Father's Day to bring families together, bring the communities together, and so on. So we first came up with the idea to do a car show, right? Then we decided to add a few other items, which were football, a little boat racing, and finally, the zest. Last year was a complete success, so we decided to do it again this year.
Now, was the zest a part of last year, or is the zest a new addition?
It was a part of last year, but it wasn't planned. This year, it is something that we actually included in the planning.
All right, let's go back to that last pic there. I saw the greasy. That's what the greasy pig?
Right, so the greasy pig, that's a new addition again this year. As you see, the price for that is $1,200. The entry fee is $50 per person.
Okay,
right?
Do you also get to keep the pig? If you when you capture the pig?
No, you don't get to keep the pig. You actually get the prize, $50 to enter, and I think you have 5 minutes in which to capture the pig.
5 minutes to capture a greasy pig. All right, this sounds like a lot of fun.
Yes.
You said that this was an idea birthed by the area representative, Megan Morrison, to
Yes,
bring the community together.
Yes.
Do you find that's happened? I mean, did that happen the first time around? Tell us what the experience was like.
Very, very much, excuse me, very much so. The turnout last year was very amazing. We were actually surprised at the support. A lot of fathers came out with their families and so on.
Fathers?
Yes. A lot of...
That's noteworthy.
As you know, in Tobago, the car community is very big and it's growing.
Yeah.
So a lot of persons came out to the car show and so on. So yes, the support was overwhelming last year, and we are anticipating an even greater turnout this year.
All right, now tell us about the car show. And I see here, what are some of the elements or aspects of the car show? What can persons expect as it pertains to cars? Is it just to look at?
No, visually, we have the lowest on 17-inch rims, lowest on 18-inch rims, lowest on 20-inch rims, as well as the best paint job. The final category for visual is cleanest vehicle overall, right? We just want to clarify that cleanest vehicle overall deals entirely with all aspects of the vehicle, because you can have a really nice paint job and your vehicle, you might have nice rims.
Under the hood is a mess.
Right, so the cleanest vehicle overall. Beside that, music category, we have single 10, single 12, single 15, as well as double 10, double 12, double 15. So it's audio and visual.
Okay.
Right? Participants are free to come out, sit in the vehicles, listen to the music, and so on, partake. You are free to partake in all the aspects of the car meet.
Now, when is all of this expected to take place?
It's expected to take place on Monday, the 19th of June.
Which is a holiday.
Which is a holiday.
Labor Day.
Labor Day. And we are expecting, again, the fathers, please come out, bring out your kids, bring out the family. This is a family-oriented event. This is what we are about, bringing families together.
Okay.
So we're asking persons to please come out, bring out your families.
Now, when we talk about car shows and car meets, you usually think of the men, the young men, the matured men. But is it that more females are, it's a sport or an activity that is attracting more females?
You actually find the females coming out earlier in the day.
Not just because of the guys?
No, you find them coming out to support the footballers, because we have the football competition which kicks off the day's events. Right, then we have the mini regatta, the boat races, and so on. So the females are there.
And where does the mini regatta take place?
Right on the beach there.
Mount St. George?
No, Studley Park.
Studley Park,
Studley
that's
Park.
right.
Yeah, Studley Park.
Okay.
Everything takes place there.
everything takes place at Studley Park?
At Studley Park.
Okay, that's
takes place
noteworthy.
there.
Okay, so it's happening at Studley Park. You said and the girls, the females come out more to support the...
to support the guys, right? But again, I want to reiterate that this is a family-oriented event. Our team is focused on family and building family. So we want the guys to bring out their families, bring out your kids, don't leave anyone at home, and come out and support.
All right. And there is a registration fee to all of this?
Yes. The car show aspect is $100 per car. Just a minute.
Okay, it's up on the screen.
Right. And $100 for the football teams as well. To register the football teams.
$100 registration for the car show,
Yeah,
and
$100 for the football teams as well, per team.
All right, so this is an opportunity for the family. And I love how you keep reiterating that it is for the family.
Yes,
it's all
we are
about
big on family.
Yeah. All right, and how come persons, is there still time for persons to register?
Yes.
Or is there a cutoff point?
No, we have time for persons to register. It actually have numbers on the flyers, right, for persons to call. Me personally, I'm dealing with the car show aspect. So my number is there on the flyer. Persons can contact me to register. As a matter of fact, the request to register, persons have already been calling to register for the car aspect. The football aspect, we have seen persons messaging in the chat, messaging different persons, inquiring about registering for the different events.
All right, so it's an entire day of fun and activities happening at the Studley Park beach facility.
Yes.
I guess all along the stretch. So, persons be careful on that day because the road is very narrow, but it's going to be a lot of excitement. So you can come on out, bring out the family, all right? And that's the day after Father's Day.
The day after Father's Day, and we are asking persons to please come out early. The day starts at 10 a.m. As we know, the following day is a working day, so we don't want to go too late into the other day. We're asking persons to come out early, have fun, support, and enjoy yourselves.
And at the end of it all, be safe. Now, with regards to car show, you're going to have drifting, any type of drifting, anything like that is going to be happening on that day?
As we speak right now, we don't have any plans for that. We are not prepared for that. But sometimes things happen. Right? If we recognize that it can take place in a safe space, then it will be possible. But yes, there will be drift cars there coming out on display as well.
And is it only for local talent, local owners, or is it open to Trinidadian?
No, it's open to everyone.
Anyone.
Yeah. Usually, when you have car events in Tobago, the Tobago guys usually invite their Trinidad counterparts to come across for the day, take part. It's about a little car meet, all you come out. This is something nice. And we have last year on track record to show that it's something to be part of. You don't want to miss it.
All right. I can see these guys head into the garages even as we speak over the next couple of weeks to ensure that everything is legit with their vehicles, the rims, the everything, the paint job under the hood. Because I saw one of the prizes there for best or cleanest car overall.
Yes.
So you want to make sure everything is on point.
Yes.
All right. Well, all right. Thank you so much for being on the program with us this morning. It was a pleasure chatting with you this morning, Rondell Moses.
Yes,
all right,
thank
viewers.
you for having me.
A pleasure indeed. And we wish you all the best for the car meet and fun day, and all the best to the area representative, Megan Morrison. Congratulations and kudos going out to you, bringing your community together, bringing families together. Well, we're going to leave it there, viewers, and we want to thank you so much. We've got lots more coming up on the Tobago Updates morning show. So I think we're going to be taking a break, and Julian is going to be coming back with us even as we wrap things up. So share the live, share the live, share the live.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes. For breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti, served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
Put a smile on your face when you're moving from.
Good morning, viewers, and welcome back to the Tobago Updates morning show, coming to you here live from the Port Mall in Scarborough, Tobago. And we're just at about 7:57 a.m. as we prepare to close this morning's show. Rhea.
Yes.
Very interesting morning. Very interesting morning.
Quite interesting, but it's finally over. But we want to thank our guests as well for being on the program. Some things you can talk on the air, some things you cannot talk on the air, Julian.
Certainly indeed. But you know, I'm particularly looking forward to seeing what's the outcome in relation to the PSA, as it relates to now being at the stage of the tribunal, as indicated by the president of the PSA, bearing in mind what might be the broader circumstances of what's happening at a national level. Very interesting.
Yeah, as well, if the fire services already accepted the 4% offer, what does it mean for the other
and a number of other entities in the lineup? So we look forward, and yes, folks, it's June. We are actually in the 6th month of the year, and this is my gentle reminder that this is reality. We're out of May, the celebration month for birthdays, but now we are into certainly the Gemini season continues. But I'll leave it there for this morning, Rhea. I'll leave it there for this morning. And yes, folks, at this point, we want to thank you so much for choosing the Tobago Updates morning show. We are saying goodbye for now, but we're inviting you to stay tuned because we are heading straight on into Tobago Notes, and that will be followed by GMT.
Special Olympics has done Trinidad and Tobago justly proud. We have represented Trinidad and Tobago for the last 40 years, including athletes with intellectual disabilities in mainstream sport. Our last outing in international games, we went to Abu Dhabi and we brought home in excess of 50 medals.
What a privilege it is to be here today at the Special Olympics Trinidad and Tobago Norma James Community Caravan Tobago Games. After a 2 years hiatus, the National Games are finally back, setting our athletes on the road to the World Games in Berlin.
The Chief Secretary would have recently gave a directive that every division across the THA, we must hire people who we consider our the special needs children. They are a part of our society. They can make a positive contribution. If they are able enough to go out there and win medals, represent TNT, they are good enough to be a part of the workforce and a part of taking Tobago forward.
Today, we celebrate inclusivity. Today, we celebrate diversity, that every single person with air in their lungs and life have a purpose in life. God placed us all here for a reason, and we all have something to contribute. The differently able, the specially able, the intellectually disabled, whatever you want to call it, as long as there's life in you, there's work for you to do, to shine, and to showcase the glory of God.
was a production of the Department of Information, Office of the Chief Secretary, Tobago House of Assembly.
Tobago updates. Good morning, Tobago. Wake up with Candace and Denasia.
Let's go. It's a brand new morning. Rise up to a brand new dawning. As the passion start to rise, the energy fill the skies. I say thanks for favor to wake up and hear me neighbor. 60,000 people strong, and the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches, we are rivers. We are melanated ones. We special and there is no denying. Tobago is number one. I am you and you are me. Together we're stronger. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago. Good morning, Tobago.
Good morning, Tobago, and welcome back. Thank you for staying with us here at the Tobago Updates. And this is the GMT show. I am your host, Adana Kumbi, and we're going to do the news again in 90 seconds for you. Residents near the Blackrock River are disgruntled by a private development that has resulted in a shift of the river course. Residents expressed their frustration with the damage done prior to their property, business, and their livestock. Residents are concerned as the area is a turtle breeding habitat and turtle eggs have been seen floating in the river. Assemblyman Niall George described the situation as unfortunate and assured that a temporary solution will be in place at the end of the turtle nesting season, and he has the approval of the Chief Secretary. Tobagonian Kyla Keith Wilson is among students from 10 countries who completed her studies in Canada after receiving a scholarship from the Trinidad and Tobago Olympic Committee. Mrs. Keith Wilson's program consisted of 3-level competition, introduction and development, long-term athlete development, performance planning, physical preparation, mindfulness, Olympic programs, and nutrition. Upon completion of the program, she graduated with a classical training certification from the National Coaching Certification Program of the Coaching Association of Canada. Congratulations to her. The Office of the Chief Secretary introduces their summer employment program. Eligible candidates include full-time university students and the 6B students. Applicants must be 18 years and over and reside in Tobago. Persons who are recipients of national scholarships would not be considered. Fields of interest include law, accounting, IT, economics, urban planning, geography, land management, communications, English, media, journalism, health and safety, HR, and business administration. The registration link can be accessed on the OCS website, and applications close on 8th June 2023. And that was your news in 90 seconds. We have a really good show for you today, and we are going to head into it. And we want to continue congratulating Kyla. If you know Kyla Keith at all, you will know that she has a love for sports and she's really dedicated. So we want to say a big shout out to Kyla and congratulations. Our show this morning today is a beautiful show. We are going to head straight into it as we welcome our first guest. We're talking today about today is actually the International Day of the fight against illegal fishing. And so we're going to talk about that. I was not even aware that such a thing existed. So I'm happy today that our guest is in studio and he's going to tell us a little bit about this and what it means in our Tobago space and in the region of the Caribbean. Our guest this morning is here and we are happy to have him, Mr. Curtis Douglas. Welcome, welcome. He's the president of All Tobago Fisherfolk Association, and he's going to tell us some more about what this means, what it entails, and how it affects our Tobago space. Good morning and welcome.
Good morning to you, and good morning to the listeners and followers of
this great station, as we did at the start by saying, share the life, share the life. So it's a pleasure to be here this morning.
You see, I like it when our guests, they follow the show, they follow the program, and they know the protocol. So of course, share the life, share the life, share the life as we continue. So let's get straight into it.
Yes, well, today is the day against fight against illegal fishing, and that came about over the years. People observing people going to different territorial waters and overfishing and damaging the fishing ground and stuff like that. So it just come to educate people about more so Tobago, Trinidad and Tobago, where we stand against illegal fishing. Now, our stand, which is the All Tobago Fisher Folk and also the fishing industry in Tobago, against illegal fishing. So it is illegal to go into anyone's waters and fish without authority. So I'm not saying that you cannot go into people's waters and fish, but you must have that permission from that state or the government of that country. So over the last 10 years, we see the increase in illegal fishing in Tobago waters. We would have seen illegal fishing from the Venezuelan into our waters. We would have seen illegal fishing from the Bajans in our waters, and we would have also seen some big trawlers fishing in our territorial waters from Indonesia and all of these places, right?
So what I want to ask, or what I think is very striking, is that when you said you can't fish in a territory without the permission or the authorization, which we understand. But what does this mean for like our economy or commerce? Because I know if you're fishing, isn't it like stealing? Isn't it like encroaching on somebody else's territory? What does it mean in the Tobago instance, or what does it mean for our economy and our commerce and the provision of food, the food supply that come from fishing? What does that mean for us?
Adana, that means a lot to us because, we are living in a changing world. And when I was a little boy, I started with my great aunts and them, which would have better known as Barpool, Mr. Wright, they had seines. And I used to see like from KFC to here, and the bun cannot reach the sun. Yeah? But what happened? We don't see that anymore because one, we didn't collect any data, and two, when you say anything about it, they say it never happened. Right? So what that means to us is that illegal fishing would cause hardship upon us because now the fishermen or the fisher folks in Tobago, with their yield will be less because they are now competing with bigger boats, bigger ships in their territorial waters. Right? So one, fishing contribute to employment on the island of Tobago at least about 20% of the job market as fisher folk. Right? So when you have fisher folk from other territorial waters coming into our countries and fishing illegally, it brings hardship upon us. And one, it is depleting our fish stock because some of their practices that they carry out is not in line with the world practice of fishing and how to ascertain fish. So you find they're using some method that is not conducive. For example, I will say some of the nets that they use are too small. So it kills even the babies. And sometimes when they do that, they overfish, and sometimes when they overfish, they destroy the ground and dump it back. So I just want to read something for you here. Because we have a little bit of problem right now or challenges with Barbados and the Venezuelans. Right? So basically, authority to the Barbados fishermen to operate in the territorial waters of Trinidad and Tobago. Currently, no foreign fishing vessel, including vessel flagged to Barbados, is authorized to fish in the waters under the jurisdiction of Trinidad and Tobago TTO waters, territorial waters. Any fishing vessel engaged in fishing or fishing-related activities in the territorial waters is doing so illegally, right? So I just want to drive home the point that, when you come into someone's space, you need to seek first permission. And this have a downstream you're supposed to check with immigration, you're supposed to let the police know if anything like that. But none of that has been done. We're not even have the Coast Guard to police the whole challenge of illegal fishing in the territorial waters of Tobago. So it's very difficult. But as I said, what it does, it creates hardship, because I want you to understand, the fishing economy in Tobago is a multi-billion-dollar industry.
Yes, and you're quite right, because before this interview, I was reading up on some information I got online in relation to what illegal fishing does. And it says, right, according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, illegal, unreported, and unregulated fishing activities are responsible for the loss of 11 to 26 million tons of fish each year in the United States, which is a value of 10 to 23 billion dollars.
US dollars.
US dollars.
Yes.
So of course that affects our economy, and that's why I asked earlier, how does it affect our economy? And you said fishing provides at least 20% of employment, and that's a very large amount, a very large percentage. So it's concerning, especially as you mentioned that we don't have the support to regulate our waters, to man our waters. What is in place? What are we going to do? This is a challenge that I find to be very concerning and very alarming. So what are the recommendations? What are the suggestions? What are we going to do to put things in place to ensure that our waters are guarded, that we don't have poaching, and that we don't lose employment, our economy doesn't plummet, and that our food supply remains sufficient for the people in Tobago and for export purposes, or whatever source of income comes from our fishing industry?
Let me explain to you how and what we're going to put in place. We already start, which is the All Tobago Fisher Folk, to have a correspondent to the Prime Minister. We did that on the 12th. And this information that I have here was a correspondent from the government of the Republic of Trinidad and Tobago, from the Ministry of Agriculture, Land and Fisheries. That is where I read the illegal behavior of foreign boats in our waters. This is the information that they send us. So we are asking that we now be able to have a more data collecting revenue, so we could know how much revenue, how much fish the Bajans are coming. And we must put a stop or come to some kind of agreement with the Venezuelans in the illegal fishings as well. But more so, when you damage the flying fish industry, you damage the heart of the whole fishing industry. So when you damage the flying fish industry, you cannot get tuna, you cannot get kingfish, you cannot get dolphin, you cannot get all the things. So these are things that we need to address immediately, because not too long from now in October, the flying fish season will open again, and then we will have the illegal fishing boats. Foreign vessels are coming to our waters and extracting our minerals. Now we are saying we are not going to stop them, but you must follow the rules. Some rules must be enforced. Hence, like when they catch the Trinidadians, the Tobagonians in Barbados, they give them 12 years. We must be able to enforce and protect our waters, our territorial waters.
And I totally agree, because it's unfair that we have the mineral resource here, as you said, and somebody else is benefiting from it. So what about our economy? What about our people? What about our food supply? And you mentioned something earlier as well. You spoke about them using improper practices.
Correct.
Using the wrong size nets.
Yes.
And killing the small fishes, which means that reproduction also is going to slow. We wouldn't get the reproduction, because if the baby fish die, then how will they grow to reproduce? So we have a really serious concern on our hands. And I really wish the authorities will really regulate this and put what they need to put in place to ensure that our marine waters are protected, that we reap the benefits from it. I'm so happy that you came here today and that you're even educating me on things that I myself took for granted. You know, you might have been aware, you're hearing the news, illegal fishing, but I really didn't consider the severity of the outcomes for us here in Tobago. And you're right. When you said in Barbados they gave them 12 years. We need to do something. We need to implement some stricter measures to ensure that our waters are protected.
Correct, because by the end of the day, it's supposed to operate. The fisheries Tobago is supposed to really check with these Bajan boats when they come to any port, immigration, to ensure, because as it stands, why you think we are seeing so much guns and stuff? We have illegal activities taking place in our waters. We need to protect our waters, and we also need to protect and safeguard our fish stocks, because we know the fish stocks have been depleted. The last time a fish stock assessment was done in Trinidad and Tobago, more so Tobago, is 2008, right? And since then, We have seen a decline in the fish stock. We have seen a massive decline in the fish stock from overfishing and using the wrong aggregates to ensure that they have a yield. One Bajan boat, when they leave Tobago waters, is going home with over $150,000 from one catch. Where is the data for that? Where is that? And that is recorded in Barbados as Barbados fine fish. But sometimes when you speak, people believe that you probably have something against them, but I have a duty, and I was cast with here to also protect the fishing industry and to safeguard so my grandchildren and your grandchildren could be able to participate in our fish. Look, the same tuna they're getting in the tin, where you feel it's being caught, right? But they're selling it back to us for $40 a tin. But Tobagonian people must be cognizant for what is taking place and also do something about it. We must stand in defense for what belongs to us. We are not saying you're selfish. We know where CARICOM, but they must be aware. In the next 5 years, there will be no fish. There will be no, like how I make no apologies.
Mr. Douglas, I appreciate your passion, and I totally agree with you, and I support you 100%. We here at GMT, we want to thank you so much for coming on the program and sharing your knowledge with us and bringing the awareness to Tobago. And I wish we could do something together to stand for what is rightfully ours so that we can preserve what is ours, so that we can preserve food for our children, as you said, for our grandchildren, that we can continue to boost our economy and ensure that our fishing practices are up to standard. Thank you very much. We are going to go to a break, but before we go, of course, we're going to invite you to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
Thank you.
I say, thanks a favor to wake up and hear my neighbor. 60,000 people strong.
Are you looking for a place for your loved ones? Heavenly Care welcomes you. Located at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors, we offer a variety of services. These include doctor visitations, social activities, geriatric care, and much more. Contact us at 277-9595 or visit us at Northside Road opposite Massey Motors. At Heavenly Care, compassion is at the heart of all care.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up below. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Everybody only worrying. Never ever worry. Don't mind how things looking hard. I tell them never ever worry. If your life can't get damaged bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. Don't mind if life make you sad. I tell them never ever worry. If your house get flooded out real bad. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil is always right here for you. I tell them never ever worry. If sickness catch you off guard. I tell them never ever worry. If times fall on you real hard. I tell them never ever worry. What I'm saying is true. So just consider Tatil will always be here for you.
Never worry about a thing. Tatil, where people are people. You know what I mean.
It's a different type of thing down there. And we party till we drop down there. With a lot of pretty girls down there. Down in Tobago.
Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates.
Welcome Welcome back to GMT. I am Adana Kombi and I am your host this morning. And we're continuing with the program. Remember to share the live before we get into it. It's a beautiful day in Tobago. And today we have in our studio one of our friends, no stranger to the Tobago Updates stage channel, rather, no stranger to GMT. And we have the person of Sergeant Joseph Jordan of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service. And he is here. Of course, the conversations we have when Sergeant is here with us. So we're just going to do a little update of, what's been happening in Tobago over the past week.
All right, good morning to you. Good morning to Trinidad and Tobago, your viewing and listening audience. All right, so that's our usual updates. So the statistics as it relates to Tobago, as we're going to compare our January 1st, 2022 up to May 27th. So in 2022, we would have recorded 332 serious report crimes, whilst in 2023, we have recorded 251, which would have shown a 24% decrease as relates to SRCs. Our detection rate stands at 28%. All right, so and the main contributors to these serious report crimes is general larceny, sexual offenses, and breaking offenses. And I want to zero in a little bit on the breaking offenses and the general larceny. Now, what we are still encountering is the fact that although we are asking persons to secure their homes, we're still finding situations where persons are leaving their brush cutter in the garage, in the gallery, and it going missing. And of course, they're coming to make a report, which they are entitled to. However, it is in your place, because the average person, but it's in my yard.
Yes.
But because of our society has changed a lot, and we cannot just leave things lying around, because it are people that they work when the day come, whether we like it or not. Them going around to see what they can steal and to sell. And we have to make things more difficult for them. So we basically you don't want to be a soft target. So that is one of the things that we are having as it relates to general larceny. Brush cutters, sometimes persons leave little tools in their yard, they come back home, it's missing, and it continues to plague us, and we having that challenge in most of our station districts, right? So we still want to encourage people, security cameras, lighting, all these things are going to aid as it relates to protecting your home and your property. Right, as it relates to murders, so we would have recorded 6 murders for the year thus far. We beg that we don't have any more, as compared to last year for the same period, we would have recorded, I think, 3 murders during this period. All right, so basically we've seen almost 100% increase in murders, and these figures. 6 murders may not be a large number, but the loss of one life is quite significant. And many of these murders that we would have encountered for the year are drug-related, and the choice of weapon are firearms, or is the firearm rather. So we need to be mindful as to what is taking place in our country. Tobago is no longer this quiet place, and we must be aware of our influence from our Trinidad environment, and it's not a situation where we are blaming Trinidad. However, we must remember that we are a twin island state, and there is an exchange of culture and values between these 2 islands, and that is something that we should not ever forget. Right? So as it relates to the murders, we have 2 of them solved. We are working on the others. More than likely, they will be solved in the very near future. We want to encourage the public to continue to provide us with that information. If you must find somebody you can trust. Outside of that, we have the 555, we have the 800 tips. Continue to use them, supply with the information. It is a safe and secure method in communicating information. As we often say, if you see something, say something.
That's right. It's very refreshing to know, as you said, that at least 2 of the murders have been solved. Because, as you said, 1 life loss is 1 too many.
Yes, certainly.
So we really want to join with this Trinidad and Tobago Police Service in the fight against crime. If you see something, say something. But I want to touch a little bit on the larceny part, because you said sometimes you leave your brush cutter in the yard, your little tools or whatever in your yard, and it's in your property. Sometimes you have a fence, you have a gate and all these things, and still they find a way into your property. I remember in the past there was a report where a person, a homeowner, a property owner, they made their own homemade little kind of security kind of type thing that when any illegal person, any illegal entry into their property, they cause some damage. And to me, I find it kind of unfair that the property owner would be charged. So tell me a little bit on how, aside from the cameras and whatever, because not everybody could afford cameras, right? Not everybody into the technology thing. We need to find other ways to safeguard our property. And people try their best. They try to make their own little things. How can we do this?
All right. So let me see if I can identify some of the things that you can do as relates to safeguarding your property. I am going to touch on I remember an instance of which you referred to. In that instance, the person's hand was chopped off.
That's right.
All right, and that was causing a little stir. All right. However, all right. So what some of the things that we can do as relates to securing our property? Obviously, we have the CCTV cameras. Now, there are cheap CCTV camera systems that you can use. I believe that the government would have taken off the duties on cameras and certain electrical safety devices, so it might be a little more affordable. So we have that which I would still say is somewhat reactive, because sometimes you may not catch the person in the act. However, having reviewed the CCTV footage, that is when you would identify. So that is one mechanism. Lighting is a very significant aspect, because a lot of persons operate in the dark. So if you're a property, and we're not only talking about home, we're talking about business, commercial arenas, lighting goes a long way. So you can use either floodlights, motion detector lights, and those things are quite reasonable and affordable. And especially if you're a businessman, you don't want to make all the money and you don't want to spend no money for security, right? So we have that. Investing in a dog or in dogs goes a long way, right? Fencing your place, using proper fencing. Not everybody might be able to build a 20-foot wall, or 20 feet wall rather, but you can use walls and fencing to at least keep people out, because it means that they still have to jump over. There is still no justification, even though your property is on fence.
None
for
whatsoever.
Someone to enter, especially to commit an offense, right? Some persons may make homemade traps and
end up in trouble.
Well, at the end of the day, you need to take whatever steps to protect your property. Some persons also if it's a business person, or if you think that you're life and interest, you can apply for a fuel or firearm user's license. So these are some of the mechanisms. And some persons may shy away from some of these things, but what we have available to us, let us use them, because we need to protect ourselves. We need to become a hard target. The aspect of the type of windows you use. Many persons here, they may move away from, louvers. However, some of the windows that they have, them sliding window, if you push it, it come off the truck and you're inside somebody else. So now you are forced now to reinforce your windows with burglar proofing.
Yes.
Right? So you have to be practical. You have to be practical in what you're doing, and let us not take it for granted that the old Tobago still exists. We still have the elements of, or the unexpected elements of crime, and that is some of the things that we need to treat with.
I know it's very unfortunate that property owners have to take these stringent measures to protect their property, but you have to do what you have to do, right? And I think we need to come back to community as well. You look out for each other, be your brother's keeper. Viewers, we are going to take a break, but we are coming back with our sergeant as we continue our discussion on safety and the roles and responsibilities of the police and the citizen of Trinidad and Tobago. So don't forget to share the live, share the live, share the live. I am Adana Kombi, and we will be right back.
And the vibes is never wrong. We are beauty, we are power. We are people in the sun. We are beaches,
Tobago Glass Supplies has been a leading name for over 37 years in the glass and aluminum market in Tobago. We provide an extensive range of high-quality, innovative aluminum and glass products for commercial and residential use. Competitive prices with superior and professional services by committed employees who are guided by rigid quality standards. Tobago Glass Supplies specializes in the manufacture and installation of glass and aluminum products that are essential to today's homeowners and the business environment. We are engaged in marketing, sales, and installation of a variety of products. These ranges from windows and doors to necessities such as mirrors for homes and vehicles, designed and manufactured in-house or imported.
The best place to stay in Tobago is at Thorn's Place, with rates starting as low as 200 TT. Call or WhatsApp 745-7306 or 682-8676. We are located uptown Scarborough, 5 minutes away from the port. Remember, at Thorn's Place, our aim is to make your stay safe and affordable.
October will never be better with Tobago Carnival fever. Book your passage and come on over. Yeah. Hey.
Tobago updates.
Welcome back, viewers, and thank you for staying with us. So this is GMT. I am Adana Kombi. I am your host, and we continue the conversation with Sergeant Joseph Jordan. And we are talking about the responsibility, the powers rather, of a police officer. What powers? We started a discussion before, and we just want to continue on the powers, the authority. What can a police officer do? What can they not do? What are the things that are allowed? So just educate us a little bit on these powers.
All right. So as we're saying, we're continuing from last week's. So we're looking at that part 2. And I want us to take a slight twist in relation to that response. But one of the things you talk about, what the police can do and what the police cannot do, one of the things we are not to abuse our powers.
Correct.
Right?
Right.
So I want to start there. And our powers are guided within the Constitution, whether it be the Police Service Act 1501, whether it be the Summary Court Act. The Constitution of Trinidad and Tobago guides each and every one of us, and that is the ambit in which the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service operates within. Now, an example, let me use one of our typical traffic examples where sometimes a lot of people tend to, we often hear about these offenses. So you are doing your traffic duty as a police officer, you engage a driver or sometimes even passengers in the said vehicle, and there is you may ask for their driver's permit and their insurance, or you may ask them about certain items on their car and these things, and sometimes we end up in an argument. Now, those might have been simple ticketable offenses, fixed penalty notice that can be administered to the driver or even the passenger. And at the end of the day, or at the end of that scenario, we end up with charges of resisting arrest, obscene language, escaping lawful custody, and these things. And these things happen when there is a poor level of communication, and sometimes people misrepresent what happens. Now, we have the authority to stop that vehicle, whether we're stopping it and searching as relates to firearms, illegal firearms, as well under the Pre-Deal Larceny Act. Right? Those are two of the main authorities that gives us the authority to stop and search a vehicle, as well as the occupants. Now, many of the times, persons would sometimes ask, so what are you stopping me for? why you harassing me? Why you going to look for the real criminal? But I would often say this, our trivial or small offenses are to be dealt with. If not, we move to the more serious ones, such as the serious report crimes, the chopping, the shooting, the murders. And this is where society needs to come together, band together, and appreciate that the little thing that you do today may escalate into something in the future. So I started there. So I want to go here now.
But before you go here, you stick up in, right?
Right.
Early in the conversation, you said a police officer could pull over a driver, search the driver and the occupants, ask for their insurance, license, and they end up in an argument, which is a ticketable offense?
No.
Oh.
Right. No, I was making the point where
it could escalate.
They might have identified an offense on the vehicle. Let me say you're driving with one headlamp. So you would have stopped the person. So you have reasonable cause.
Because I'm like, what if I argue with a police officer? Right, okay, good. We clear that up.
All right, let me go. As a matter of fact, if there is some sort of breach by the driver and the passenger, yes, they can be arrested.
Okay.
And taken to the station and be charged, right? But the point I was making is that you would have been stopped for offense that is ticketable.
Good. Okay, good.
Right? So last week, I think one of your callers or tweeters would have asked about citizens' arrests. And it is an area that a lot of people often ask about, and they want to know how it operates. So I will look at, we have the Criminal Law Act, Chapter 1004, right? Under that act, and we're looking at Section 3 in particular, I will read. Any person may arrest without warrant anyone who is or whom he, with reasonable cause, suspects to be in the act of committing an arrestable offense. So that is Section 3.2. I will look at Section 3.3 of that said act. Where an arrestable offense has been committed, any person may arrest without warrant anyone who is or whom he with reasonable cause suspect of being guilty of the offense. Right. You're looking interested.
I'm very interested because I'm very interested.
Right. Now, we're talking about the powers of the police and we're talking about powers of the citizen. Now, further down, they talk about the police, but not to confuse the public and to confuse us. Now, we say any person. Let me break it up. Any person means me being a police officer, or you being a civilian. Right? And arrest without warrant. Without warrant means if there is no need for due process in order to get instructions to arrest a person. And an arrestable offense is for serious crimes that are punishable by a sentence of no less than 5 years. Serious offenses. So if you, my host, see another guy running down the road with a cutlass, he's bloody, and you cast your eye further up the street and you saw a man on the ground bleeding, you can
arrest the man with the cutlass?
You can.
No.
Right, and this is where it becomes interesting. Now, citizens' arrest is people usually operate in groups.
Yes.
For your own safety.
True.
Right? And I just use the extremity because the average person not going to stop no man running down the road with no cutlass.
Correct.
But it gives you the authority to detain that person by whatever means, even if it means with the assistance of others, and bring that person to the police or keep that person there until the police come. Yeah. Right? So if an arrest and an offense would have taken place, the average citizen can intervene.
And we've seen this happen before in Trinidad and in Tobago. Even in our communities, we've seen that happen before.
And that is, and the loose term, that is where we call the citizen arrest. But that authority is given. This is under the law of Trinidad and Tobago, under Section 1004 of the Criminal Law Act, that gives both the police and civilians that ability to detain someone. Right, and as I said, without warrant, that there is no due process, there is no legal proceedings or investigation as yet, but an offense would have been committed, and we're talking about the proximity of the event, right? So you are able to reasonably suspect that man or that person committed this offense. So this is where we speak about citizens arrest, and is something that person should be cognizant of.
Understood.
So likewise, the police, yes, we have our powers. The civilian, the general public, they also have similar powers. Just that our powers might be a little more greater and guided by our proceedings.
Policies, correct.
Right?
Mm-hmm.
So that's the wilderness scheme off your face.
Yes.
So you appreciate now as it relates to the powers of a civilian, likewise the powers of a police officer. And I would often encourage persons, sometimes we need to look at these things. I know I am not such a social media fanatic. However, a lot of us sometimes we're on the social media saying things and promoting things that are incorrect. And it is important that you look at our laws, because what we need to appreciate is that what we do in Trinidad and Tobago, we have rights and we have a constitution that guides everything. It supersedes all law. It is the foundation on the principles under which we are governed. Not even the government can interfere with the constitution without due process. So we need to be mindful as to what is available to us and use it to our benefits.
Right, so we learned about the citizens arrest.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us a little bit more as we have the last couple of minutes before we wind down. Police powers. Tell me a little bit, like, okay, for instance, you get some information, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, you know, you have your little sources or whatever, you have information. A drug man living there,
Mm-hmm.
right? Could you just turn up to the place, knock the door in, kick in the door, go in and say, I'm arresting you today? How does that work?
Not in that simple process. Now, if there is information of a house, a person selling drugs, we would need to do some diligent checks, do some background inquiries, gather some information. And upon that information, we would now get a warrant. We'll get a warrant, and that is the authority in which we would use to enter the premises, whether by force or other
voluntarily.
means.
Good.
All right? So that is where we are.
Right. Listen, I have been educated today. I have a greater understanding and appreciation for the operations of the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, and also my responsibility as a civilian. Yeah. And as I said, the important thing really is, if we want to keep the crime down or whatever, we really have to be our brother's keeper.
Yes, certainly.
Of course, you have to be honorable citizens as well. You have to be an honest person and whatever.
Yeah.
But, you know, just knowing that you have the support of somebody. You have somebody, you're going away for a weekend and somebody casting an eye on your property, or somebody could give you a call and say, listen, I see somebody come in your yard, whether somebody come to water your plants, you know, stuff like that. So let us continue to be our brother's keeper. As the sergeant said also, let us get familiar with the laws, the constitution that guides criminal activities and our responsibility as civilians in Trinidad and Tobago as we work together to achieve reduce crime and offenses in Trinidad and Tobago, specifically in Tobago and in our communities, for the safety of our families and our children. This is where we take a break, and we want to say thank you, Sergeant, so much for being here with us. We love having you here and the information that we get.
Thanks for having me.
Right. So we are going to go to a break, and while we go to this break, we're going to encourage you, of course, to share the live, share the live, share the live. We'll be back.
Wake up with Candace and Denise.
Welcome to Limache Parfait Day Spa, your urban oasis and wellness center. Our services includes massages, treatments, facials, pedicures, weight management, detox programs, and much more. Call us today at 624-1452 or 720-7474. Trinidad locations and Bonacore, Tobago at 273-7772. Let us treat you like the VIP you are.
MI4 Security Services Company is the most advanced security service in Tobago. Ask about our cash and transit service. It's safe, risk-free, reliable, and timely. We provide safe banking delivery for all business types and sizes with highly trained staff, 24/7 monitoring, coordinated emergency response, and a well-maintained fleet of armored vehicles. Contact us at 660-7723 or visit our website at www.mi4securitytt.com to sign up today.
You can now get whatever you need whenever you need it anywhere in Tobago with Tobago. Your meals, medication, groceries, and shopping all delivered directly to you. No more hassle, no more stress. Get the Tobago app today on Google Play or Apple App Store.
That's TAPPOGO and let us deliver to you.
Check our website at www.tapogo.app or call the experts at 494-TOGO and 484-4746. Tobago. Relax. We will get it to you. Tobago's at your service.
Tapicom. Welcome to the future. The only card you will need in a new world. Digital business cards. Safe, hassle-free. The future is here. Tapicom. New generation digital transfer. Digital time clock cards. Digital attendance cards. Air tags. Customized designs. Digital clothing tags. Digital pet tags. Tapicom. The future is here. Contact us today.
Coconut's Cafe, the buffet restaurant that specializes in all your tasty local dishes for breakfast and for lunch. Breakfast includes coconut bake and sada roti served with chokers, bull joil, and sausages in tomato sauce. Not forgetting beef and cheese pies, shepherd's pie, macaroni pie, and rice in various styles. Meat served in a variety of flavors, garden salads, and pasta salads. All this accompanied by fruit juices, coconut water, your choice of a great combination to appease your taste buds. So call us today to order, as we are here to accommodate your busy schedules or if you are having a cooking day off.
This is how it's gonna go. They better look up and look, 'cause this is your show, and everybody's gonna know. Say it to them once again. They better look up and look. This is your show, and everybody's gonna know. That's how it's gonna go. They better look up below, 'cause this is your show.
Welcome back, viewers, and again, thank you so much for staying with us here at Tobago Updates on GMT And we are talking about BioBlitz, the recently concluded event, the 12th episode of this event, which recently concluded over the weekend. And we have in studio with us two guests who are going to tell us a little bit more about this event, what it means, and what the outcomes were. We have with us Senior Lecturer of Zoology, the Department of Sciences of the University of the West Indies, Dr. Amy Deacon, and we also have Mr. Ryan Mannett, Director of Species BioBlitz Committee member. He's actually the director of the committee who hosted this event. And as I said, the event recently concluded over the weekend, and they are here to talk about their findings, or, you know, preliminary, or I don't know if it's final. But we're going to learn a little bit about the biodiversity and what it means, and we're going to take it from there. So I hand over to you guys. Thank you so much for coming.
Oh, thanks very much for having us. And we're really excited to be here the day after the event to give you the fresh, hot off the press results.
we like stuff fresh off the press here.
But yes, so biodiversity really is just a word to describe all of life on Earth, everything, plants, animals, including the insects, every small thing, and sort of the variation that forms that sort of life on Earth, which is, you know, fascinating and surrounds all of us.
Yes.
So the BioBlitz is a way of kind of surveying and learning more about biodiversity locally. So it's an event, as you say, that's been going on for 12 years now. And each year we go to a different part of Trinidad and Tobago. This year is our second time coming to Tobago in those 12 years.
Second time this year coming to Tobago?
No, second time in the 12 years.
Oh, okay,
yes,
okay.
Exactly.
I know I read somewhere recently that you were in Charlottesville in 2015.
That's correct.
Yes, and you found over, like, I'm really interested about the surveys, because I remember reading that in 2015 when you went to Charlottesville, within 24 hours you found over 1,000 species.
Absolutely. Yes.
This is amazing.
It is amazing.
I didn't even know this 1,000 species in 24 hours. Let's get into it.
I know, isn't it amazing? And that's just 24 hours. And the reason we're able to do that is because we bring together, that the event is to bring together all the different experts, nature lovers, volunteers, scientists, but a big team of people who are interested in biodiversity, but have different specialist kind of interests. So we have mammal biologists, we have marine biologists, we have birders. They all come together, botanists, and spend that 24 hours doing nothing but looking for species. So we get it's only a snapshot, but it gives us the sort of best snapshot that we have of a particular area for that time. So that intense surveying over that 24 hours in a particular area, we normally choose a 5-kilometre radius. So in Charlottesville, we had a 5-kilometre radius, including Charlottesville, Speyside, some of those offshore islands. So we had divers, we had people hiking in the forest, to just keep a list of everything.
Wow.
And so that's what we did this weekend, but in Baku and Southwest Tobago. Yeah.
That is really amazing and interesting. And it's so funny how we just live our daily lives unaware of all these things, and then there are people who are dedicated to this type of thing, and I'm really interested to continue this conversation with this biodiversity and finding all these species. Tell me some more. I really want to know more. Tell me more.
Well, it's interesting to know that some of the species that you see on a daily basis, you may not realize. You think these two animals are the same thing, but when you go down to the genetics of it, they are actually different species. So we may look at certain fish and they all look the same to the general public, but when you start counting the rays and the fins and stuff like that, it can actually be two completely different species that just look similar. So when you say we found 1,000 species, you may not, as a layperson, understand that, okay, we are seeing 1,000 different species, but when you start to go down to the biology of it, you realize, yes, we have such diversity, and that genetic diversity in the environment is what's very important for the survival, because one species might be susceptible to a disease, whereas the other isn't, and they perform similar functions. So it's kind of like a safety net the ecology has, so that if something happens to one set, you have a backup to take over. So it's very important to have genetic diversity in your environment so that it builds resilience.
You know, I appreciate people like you, because here we are, as I said, living our daily lives. And here you are protecting things that we don't want to get extinct because we need them for survival. Some of them we need for food. Some of them we need for recreation. Some of them we just need to enjoy and to feel good. When you see a pretty fish, you feel so good. And you are people who are literally spending your lives, dedicating your time to finding these things. And as you said, finding ways to preserve them and protect them from becoming extinct or falling susceptible to diseases.
Yeah, and the first stage to protecting things is to know what we have. And that's where BioBlitz comes in because, you know, to even start to conserve something, you have to understand, you know, what species, what is its habits, where does it live, you know, what area do we need to put protections in order to actually capture the species that need that protection. And in many cases, we don't even know what's there. In fact, even this weekend, we found species records for Southwest Tobago, which we didn't even know those species existed in Southwest Tobago. Some of them we didn't even know were in Tobago. We found a new moth species that has never in the history of the world been recorded by humans in Tobago just this weekend, just by looking and taking photos and getting the experts to help us identify them. We also, in Southwest Tobago, which was kind of surprising, we found some endemic species that we associate with, you know, maybe the main ridge, but actually we found them within our survey area down here in Southwest Tobago, like Ryan was saying about hidden diversity, where, you know, we know scorpions, we know geckos, but actually there are several species. Right. There's 10 species of scorpion in Tobago, for example. We found 3 of them in this Southwest Tobago this weekend. And one of them is an endemic species of scorpion that is only found in Tobago in the whole world, no other country. What? Not even in Trinidad. So, you know, these things people don't even realize. And the other thing I wanted to emphasize, actually, following on from what Ryan was saying, is that not only is this surprising to, say, people who aren't experts in biology or in biodiversity, you know, we as scientists get very surprised and shocked when we find that many species too. We know it's there, but actually when you start counting them, I think it even opens our eyes to just how many are there.
It makes me feel better.
Yeah, for sure.
It makes me feel better. But you know what I would like to know is the findings. Would it be published anywhere that we could like do research and find out about these things? Because as I said, this is like news to me. This is not something I would have ever considered having an interest in trying to find out. But just having this conversation this morning awakens my awareness, and I'm really interested. I'm really curious to find out more. So will there be any publications and the findings and stuff like that anywhere that we could find? Yes.
Yeah. So the Trinidad and Tobago Field Naturalists Club do publish the data. The Living World Journal, which is published by the Field Naturalists Club. All of this reports will be drawn up and it will be published in the Living World Journal. And that's freely available to the public. The Trinidad and Tobago Field Naturalists Club website. You can go on there and you can actually find reports from all the previous BioBlitz as well. So you can get a full view of what was found before and what is found this weekend.
Yeah.
And when you do these events, do you like invite partners, like let's say for instance schools or different groups or clubs to join so that they too can get the exposure and the experience of these things?
Yeah, we absolutely do. So in fact, maybe at this point I should highlight our partners, because we did have both schools and other NGOs involved, so it'd be great to mention those. Firstly, we had Species, which Ryan is the director of, so he's already represented, but Boku Reef Trust, they were also a partner here, and they have great connections with schools, so that was a really nice way to make sure the community was fully involved, as well as the THA and the Division of Fisheries had their full support. And I also just want to not forget to thank First Citizens Bank, who actually sponsored this whole event for us. Awesome. But we also went through the Ministry of Education. We contacted all the schools in Tobago to make sure they were aware of the event and were invited down. There are also really cool ways that teachers can incorporate sort of mini BioBlitzes into the curriculum.
Yes.
So you can even do a BioBlitz in your schoolyard, you know, and I think, again, maybe not 1,000, but I think people would be shocked at how many species you might find.
Absolutely.
So we had several schools coming down. And yeah.
Absolutely correct. And I really want to thank you so much for coming on the program this morning. I feel your enthusiasm. I feel your passion. And you have caused me to become enthusiastic and passionate, and I really want to know more. So we will continue, our findings. Actually, I'm going to go in my yard and see how many species I can find there. I might not know that it's a species, but I know it's something. There must be some variation there. So I want to thank you so much for joining us on the Tobago Updates, GMT, today to share your information with us. Viewers, we thank you so much for being with us this morning. Thank you so much for staying with us throughout our programs. I am Adana Kombi, and we're leaving you here today. And we hope that you have a great and a marvelous day, because it's a beautiful day, and this is the day that the Lord has made. Have a good day, everyone, and thank you.
It's a brand new morning, rise up to a brand new